This man put the biggest bank crime in Nigerian history. Before organizations started to use emails, what was popular back in the days were fax. Companies had to fax memos and information across board. So this man, Nelson Sakaguchi, who is the director of a bank in Brazil, bought a fax machine from a particular man called Tafida Williams, who was claiming to be an official of Nigerian government. Basically, they were trying to tell Nelson that the Nigerian federal capital had moved from Lagos to Abuja, that they needed to build an airport in Abuja. Like I said, before emails, they used to use fax machine, which means there was no LinkedIn, there was no Google, there was no way for them to specifically be sure of who they were in contact with. This is where we introduce our villain of the story, Emmanuel Nwude. Nwude came to Brazil impersonating the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. In fact, he did not only go alone, he also went with his wife, Amaka, who was also impersonating the wife of the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. That is pretty bold, or quite a bold family business to be involved with, in my opinion. So of course, Sakaguchi is like, yes, this is the real deal. These are the real people. In the course of this meeting and all this process, Emmanuel requested the sum of $39 million from Sakaguchi. Basically, Emmanuel was asking Sakaguchi to invest in Nigeria. He convinced him that they had an airport to build in Abuja. The bank that Nelson worked with was going to be getting the sum of $10 million in returns if they invested with this Nigerian airport that was about to be built. And of course, any smart business person would want to, be a partaker of this. Or we can simply say, he was just also too greedy. Yeah. Now, in the course of this whole brief initial meeting, Emmanuel was able to obtain an initial sum of $39 million, which he got. When he came back to Nigeria, Emmanuel and his gang, of course, began to live a very lavish lifestyle, buying properties, real estate, businesses. Basically, they were living the dream life, right? I remember that this whole scam started in the year 1995 and it ran on up until the year 1998 before they discovered that everything and every money that had been sent down to aka the Nigerian government was going into the pocket of one man. Thankfully, in the year 2004, when President Olusegun Obasanjo was the president of Nigeria, he set up a commission called the EFCC, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, to tackle issues of fraud, because remember, 419 was on the rise at the time. Now, in that same year 2004, Emmanuel Nwude, his wife and his accomplices were apprehended and arraigned in court. This whole matter lasted until 2005, when he was now finally convicted to 25 years in jail. Now, let me blow your mind. He was sentenced to 25 years in jail. Guess what? He did not spend 25 years in jail. Emmanuel was released very shortly after the time of his sentencing, because my guy put up a huge fight. He refused basically to go down without a fight. In fact, he countersued the Nigerian government. I forgot to mention that Emmanuel was actually a director of the Union Bank of Nigeria before his crimes came to light. While other members that were involved in this crime all pleaded guilty and literally threw themselves at the mercy of the court, Emmanuel, however, refused to go down without a fight. He claimed that some of the assets which had been, confiscated or seized by the government during the course of this investigation were his assets. I was claiming that these were properties that he already owned before the whole scam thing started, and that he wanted the government to release it back. And his whole back and forth actually paid off, because my guy did not spend that 25 years of sentencing in jail. So we can learn from this story is that no matter how long you think you've gotten away with something wrong, it's just a matter of time. Your bad deeds will eventually catch up with you. And I know most of you have forgotten kajal, right? I have eye problems, so I can't just be using random eyeliners. I use kajal because this is like the OG. If you know, you know. And this is the final looks. Let me know if you enjoyed the story and makeup time, and if you'd like to see more of this kind of content, leave it in the comment section. Bye.